Okay, go ahead.
I should have my tripod with you then.
Yeah.
So my name is Daniel Mason. I'm an international studies and pre-med student here at DU. Fourth year, we'll be graduating this June. And I had thought long and hard about how to tell my story, and we all know that's one of the hardest things to do. And so what I'm going to do is take you back to 1993, which is when I was born. I'm a young guy. I'll be turning 21 a month before graduation, so I'll have a month as a 21-year-old college student. So I was born in Long Beach, California, Colorado, and I spent most of my childhood in East LA. And the reason I tell you that is because our background, I've learned that background for a lot of people sets a foundation for what you strive for, what you believe in, what your values are, and it's very much so in my case. That I come from East LA, wasn't the best neighborhood. I had the opportunity to move to Colorado in the year 2000. I moved up to Westminster, which is in northern Colorado, or northern Metro Denver, and it was a big change for me. And it kind of troubled me a bit because I always think about what my life would be like if I hadn't made that change in my life. And it's a troubling thing to think that, you know, if I would have stayed in East LA, that life could have been much worse. I might have never gone to college. I might be a different person. And that's kind of where some of my passion for social justice originates. And so I guess fast forward a little bit to Westminster. I moved there in 2000, spent my late childhood there, went to Westminster High School. And luckily at this point I had had some really good influences in my life. I had become a pretty good student. And I was a good student, but I was still a troublemaker. You know, I was the kid that talked a lot in class but could get away with it because I had straight A's. And luckily, from all that hard work in high school and leading up to that, I was awarded the Daniels Fund Scholarship, which is a scholarship in 4 states that gives students the choice to go to any college in the country, and they would pay for it. And of all the colleges in the country, I chose DU. And when I was choosing, some of the factors that I took into account, a big one was family, so applied to schools in Colorado because my family lives here, and schools in California because my extended family lives there. And in Colorado, it really was a no-brainer because DU is a very prestigious university. All my friends were going to CU Boulder, and I wanted my own school all to myself. And so I had also met some people over at DU already, so I knew some of the admissions staff and some current students. And so it really felt already like a place that could become my home. And it did. I moved in my freshman year. Big exciting day when all these new people are coming on campus and being exposed to the new world that's college. So 4 years is a big thing to sum up, but if I were to kind of go through it for you, I want to break it down into my professional experiences, my student experiences, and my travel experiences. Before I even moved onto campus, I had started working at the Office of Financial Aid, and that was a work study position. And it was a really cool thing because I got to learn all the inside secrets about financial aid before anybody else did. And when I moved in, people would actually come to my room, and I'd be like an on-call financial consultant for people that had questions about FAFSA and stuff like that. And that was a really early experience. It wasn't really relevant to my field, but very early on, I started kind of developing myself in a professional way. And that's one of the cool things about college is that not only do you come to go to class, but life outside the classroom is a big thing where you learn the kind of person you're going to be in the professional workforce. So I went from the financial aid office to the Center for Multicultural Excellence my second year. I worked there for 3 years with little kids and group visits. From CME, I was recommended for a fellowship at the Capitol, and so I started working at the Capitol my junior year. And now I actually work in the Psych Research Lab. And this next Monday, I'm going to start at my first big boy job, which is Swedish Medical Center. And so it's been a nice progression. I think I owe DU for a lot of the skills that I've developed to get me to where I'm going to be on Monday and eventually in the future. You can't forget about classes, of course, too, because that's the main thing with college. And so I was able to do something really cool, and DU allowed me to do this, which is to do international studies and pre-med. And they're kind of 2 different sides of the spectrum because you have your traditional hard sciences and exams and content that you just hard memorize, and then kind of the more liberal arts, which is more about writing papers and lots of reading. And somehow I was able to combine both of those, but for me, it was the best of both worlds, because medicine is moving more and more towards social sciences and not just the sciences. So class has been great too. I'd say my favorite experiences have been my involvement on campus. we have tons of student orgs, and I've gotten involved mainly with the Latino Student Alliance and a lot of the cultural affinity-based groups. I was a part of our undergraduate student government. My golden year really was sophomore year, and this was the year that everyone would tell me, oh look, there's Daniel Mason, and I knew too many people, and I was that guy on Facebook that was posting about all these events and sending out emails, and if you didn't get an email from Daniel Mason, you weren't in the loop. And I really, that wasn't a self-proclaimed title. It was really something that people always told me, like, man, you send me way too much emails. And that happens on the college campus. There's a lot of fun stuff to do, and we try to get the word out to students for alternatives to partying and all that stuff, because we have lots of other fun stuff too for people that aren't 21. And so through this involvement, I was able to meet a lot of people. I met a lot of my best friends, and there was some professional development in that too, because I'm sure many of you know in planning events here at Alumni Relations, planning an event takes a lot of soft skills. You got to be able to send an email in a professional way, in a timely manner, and that was something that I definitely developed through my student org involvement, which I didn't really get from classes. Because from classes I get a lot of knowledge, but we have to know how to apply that knowledge, and so student orgs really did that for me. And I'd say probably outside of student organizations, my favorite part of college has been the traveling experiences. My freshman year, I was able to leave the country for the first time. I was in the International Living Learning Community, which was a theme-based floor. So there was 30 of us that lived together, took a 2-credit class together. And it was really nice because you come to college, and to live on a floor with a bunch of random people can be a challenge. But when you're on a theme floor, and not everyone gets the opportunity, but you know each other before school even starts. You have class together, and you have a reason to talk to everyone. So you don't have that awkwardness where you have to go up to people you don't know and say, hi, I'm Daniel, and this is my major, and the typical 3 things to introduce yourself with. And so that was really nice, and we did form a really good friendship bond, and I'm still friends with them to this day. We had the opportunity to go to Costa Rica together for spring break, and so this was my first time leaving the country. And like I said, I come from a not very privileged background, and so traveling has never really been a thing that I could do. And they made it affordable for us, and gave us the opportunity, and we all went. And from there, I just went travel crazy because, and that's one thing that might happen in college, especially at a school like DU that's very travel-based, lots of students that study abroad. Second year, I joined an organization called Global Medical Brigades. And this has been the epitome of combining everything, my studies, my involvement, my passion, because we were able to travel to Honduras, rural Honduras, about 30 of us. We had fundraised the whole year, and then come spring break, each of us has like a 40-pound bag of medicine. We have a doctor with us, a dentist with us, there's an in-country staff that meet us at the airport, and for a week we just did mobile clinics at all these different communities. And it's things like this, I think, that college really allows you to do, all these opportunities, all these doors it opens for you. I think sophomore year I really realized how privileged I was to be experiencing these things. And it didn't stop there. So I had that spring break experience, and I came back, and it was amazing. And raising the money was hard. So it was about $1,800, and I did a fundraiser online on Facebook. I invited all my friends and family, and I did milestones. I said, if I get to this amount, I will do this. And I think the halfway milestone was doing the cinnamon challenge, which, if you don't know, is trying to eat a teaspoon of cinnamon, which it's not doable, and then you just pop it out in a Teletubby costume. So that's on YouTube somewhere. And my incentive for reaching the full amount was to shave my head. And so for the first time in my life, I was bald as well. But I reached the full amount. I think it was convincing to people to see those things, and was able to go on this trip. The next year, I was able to study abroad in Brazil thanks to the Sherrington Global Scholars Program, which allows students to go abroad for the same price that they pay here. I studied in a program for public health, race, and human rights. And so just all these things kept adding up. I was able to go and practice medicine, and I was able to go see how the countries are doing it very successfully. Universal healthcare in Brazil. Had a Brazilian host family. I met another language, Portuguese. I'm sorry, I learned another language. I already speak Spanish, so I cheated a little bit, but it was still hard to learn. And now I'm a senior, and I'm going to have a new degree. I've learned 2 new languages. I've been to 4 new countries, and I've made countless new friends. And I'd say that my experience here at DU has been nothing short of life-changing. I didn't know what to expect coming in, but I definitely knew what I was looking for. And a lot of those things I found, they were growth, knowledge, friends for life, skills, And I'm very thankful and very privileged to have had that experience. I guess that's my story.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was a hard thing to do.
That's great.
What's your spring break trip this year?
Nicaragua, actually. So we've been going to Honduras for the past 2 years, and you finally caught on to what we were doing and realized that that wasn't the safest country to go to. And they tried to tell us we couldn't go anywhere, but we kind of negotiated a little bit, because it's good work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And so, Nicaragua is it.
Yeah, Costa Rica is definitely the safest.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good place to start.
Yeah.
It didn't scare me away from traveling. I've progressively moved up the danger ladder, and it's only going to get worse.
And what are your plans for after you graduate?
So I plan on going to med school. I'll be applying this next summer. And eventually, it's hard that I can't do it now because being able to work in the field of development and global health is really a privileged thing because it doesn't pay a whole lot. And so my plan is to go to med school, become a physician, and then once I have a little bit of resources, work abroad in the field of global health. Because we have aches and pains here and illnesses, but really when you see children that died before the age of 5 and parents not naming them because they don't want to get emotionally attached like that, that breaks my heart. So that's the work I want to do.